Hello and welcome back to Last Year, the number one most out-of-date podcast in the world. Today, my mom.
Hi.
I think that we should just jump right into the ghost conversation because I think that is really interesting. So I know you've had a lot of experiences with different paranormal things, and I definitely want to go over that. Some of my favorite stories probably came from our the house that I grew up in.
Yeah.
Could we maybe start there?
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, when you first moved in before I was even born, there was some weird stuff there, right?
Right. So we bought the house and it had layers of linoleum on the floor. And so I spent some evenings there scraping that, and some of my tools would disappear.
Okay, I don't even know if I knew that actually.
And so it was in the kitchen. And so at night when I was done, I would put the tools up on the counter and I'd come back the next evening and they'd be gone. So I'd find them in a different room of the house.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
And I thought, oh, okay, well, maybe I just forgot and left them in there. And then one of the other times that was really evident was I was in Amelia's room painting, and the door was open, I had the radio on, and it was a solid station. And I'm painting, and I feel a cold whoosh come by, and then the radio started going, and it said, "Hit the road, Jack." And so that one was, made the hair on the back of my neck stand up.
Yeah, that is maybe the craziest thing that I've heard. That's terrifying. Jeez.
But it's not the first time I've experienced something like that. I feel like almost every home that I have lived in, I have felt something.
Mm-hmm.
This one in this home that you grew up in, it didn't like us being there. And that was, that's what made it really scary. And then there were other things, the water would be on in the bathroom, and as soon as I'd go in and I'm like, who left the water on? And I'd reach to turn it off and the knob would turn on its own. And then I put up 2 blinds in my bedroom, used anchors, long screws on each of them. So they're 6 screws on each blind. And so I finished putting those up, and we were eating dinner, and there was a crash. And so we went in, and both the blinds and the anchors were on the floor. And so finally, it was enough, and it was happening a lot. So I have a friend from Acoma Pueblo, and she came to the house one night, and she and I were talking, and I was telling her about this spirit, ghost, paranormal activity. And she said to put a chicken bone and a dish of water on our mantle and say, "You are welcome to stay here and live with us, but you can't continue doing what you're doing, or here's something for your travel." And so I did that, and the activity subsided. Now, I don't know if they continued to stay because I didn't really feel the presence. But things stopped pretty much after that. Oh, but I do remember one more thing that happened in the kitchen.
Okay.
So we had the pantry area, and so it didn't have a door on it. And so I was cooking, and I turned quickly to go into the pantry, and I ran into something. So there was some kind of presence in the doorway, and I actually bounced off of whatever it was.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what did that feel like? Was it a solid was it hitting a wall, or was it more a person?
Yeah, it wasn't like hitting a wall, so it definitely wasn't hard. It didn't make a crash. I didn't feel like it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
It just kind of, I bounced off of it.
Wow.
Yeah, not a patting, but just, that's a good question. What did it, it definitely didn't hurt, but it was enough to knock me back into the kitchen.
That is so fascinating to me. I definitely like for a long time I've wanted to know if ghosts are real or not. And like now part of me is like, I don't know if I want to know. Like for a long time I was like, yes, but then like I feel like a year ago or something I was laying in bed and I was like, if a ghost appeared right now I'd be like terrified, like, and I kind of don't want that to happen. And like I kind of don't want to welcome it because I feel like that is maybe important, like
Oh,
welcome spirits
yeah,
to
how
do
you
that.
communicate with them.
Yeah, and it seems like you just seem to be a person that has some sort of connection for some reason. And do you think you do kind of welcome it, or it just always has been how it is? Like,
I think it's always been that way. My childhood home was an evil one. I could not stand to be in my bedroom. And I can remember when I got my first dog when I was 5 because I was so afraid of that room. And I kept telling my mom that there's something in my room. And I can remember years and years trying to get her to understand that I'm feeling something in my room and it doesn't feel right. It's trying to get on me. And I used to scoot my bed to as close to the door as I could, get under the covers and time myself. And so I would position my bed to get me the quickest access out of my bedroom.
wow.
So it's been that way as long as I can remember. And there have been really good ones, happy, it's like oh, hi, how you doing? That kind of stuff when I feel them, to where it's evil or they're upset or angry.
Uh-huh. Wow. I definitely like I love hearing all of these stories, and like to me like this is some of the most convincing stuff to me because like I know you and like I trust you, and like it's really cool to have like such close, like it's like secondhand stories, but it's hard because like I can't say I've experienced anything for sure, and like if I do I really want to like document it somehow, but I don't even know if I want that to happen again.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Well, and it's is it fear of the unknown,
Hmm.
or what comes up for you with, because you're
Yeah.
so interested in it, but
Yeah. I guess like, yeah, because like right now I'm like, oh yeah, like it'd be awesome, but then like, yeah, like I feel like being alone and just like having the possibility of being like jump scared by like a human just like floating there, like that's scary. And I don't know, in a way though, it definitely like it brings me comfort to imagine like, oh, like, yeah, these people are still like floating around or whatever.
and that whole thing of like they're floating around, does that mean they have some unresolved business to take care of? Are they stuck? So that's kind of how I think about it too. It's like, well, why are they there? Like, what's going on? Are some of them in turmoil and some of them like to be around? And is that the energy that I'm feeling? Like some of them who are still so angry about maybe whatever is happening to them?
And so like to you, well, because it kind of begs the question of what happens after death. And like, I guess to you, like most people, what would they end up in more of like a kind of a settled state or something? And like yeah, why do you think that like them having some unsettled stuff is what keeps them here or whatever?
Well, I think I'm curious about
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
Like, is that truly what happens? Because you hear,
Yeah.
I've heard different stories about, oh, well, they're trapped, they can't move, wherever it is, but
Uh-huh.
I don't know what that means.
Okay.
Or does everyone have the ability to do that, like at some point?
To be a ghost?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yeah, to be
Yeah.
a spirit, to come back, to stick around,
Yeah.
resurface. I don't know.
I feel like I would imagine like if it's like ghosts are real, I feel like I would imagine everybody could, and like I bet just like some would choose to like play with people or like try to interact, and some wouldn't, something like that.
So do you think the ones that like are like comedic might come back to like play jokes on people?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
those who are like feel like they were wronged come back? Like, do you think it's depending on their personality?
Yeah, maybe that could be it. And I don't know. Like I feel like I know yesterday you were telling me about at Monzano how there seems to be a very reoccurring thing. And for one, like if I want to figure out if they're real or not, I feel like that's the place to do it. I feel like I
Hmm.
just like somehow should like try to join the like night crew or just ask
Right.
if I could like help them out or something
There
like
you go. Yeah.
cleaning. And because I don't know, it sounds like that's something that's happened a lot.
Yeah. There
Um,
is a lot of activity there.
mhm. And yeah, I
It's
wonder
a
like
historical building too, and so I'm wondering if that has something to do with it as well. Is it a portal?
yeah. And what do you think about like portals? Like, uh, you picture that as like for people who have passed on, like, or like what's your definition of portal? I guess.
I think it's something that you can pass through. There are I don't know if you can just float around or okay, let's say like in a home, if someone dies in a house, is that your portal? So that home is your in and out, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. I have another incident where I was running on the Bosque and I had a dog with me and I see this figure. And the way I describe it, it was floating because I know that person's feet were not on the ground. There was no footsteps. Their feet were stable, solid, floating like this. And it was all in all black. The skin was like ashen gray, and the hair was like this big and black. And it was just it's like that one to me was the most prominent and the one that was the scariest because it was actually a figure. I could see features,
Yeah.
and it was floating towards me, and I could see two older people ahead of me. They were hunched over and they had a book, and then they'd look up every once in a while. I'm like, oh, they're bird watching. But my natural instinct was I have to pick up my pace and get to these people before this, whatever this is, gets to me. And so I started running faster with the dog, and the dog usually wants to greet everybody, like pulls,
Yeah.
wants to go over and sniff everybody. So I kept running and it's sped up. And I didn't make it to the people before we passed each other. My dog, it didn't turn its head, didn't act as if anything was there. And so it floated by me, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad I have my sunglasses on because I didn't want to make direct, eye contact. And so when I was running, I looked out of my peripheral, and it floats, and then it goes. And I got to the people, and I'm like, oh my gosh, did you see that? And they looked up and turned and looked at me. And at that moment, I realized they were also some form of spirits. I could just tell that they were not in human life form. And they didn't really say anything. And my first thought was, oh my gosh, I'm in a portal. I have to get out of here.
Hmm.
And so then I ran, and then I wanted to see where the floating figure was. And so I stopped. I'm like, oh, look, there's a bird. And when I looked back, it was behind a bush looking at me. And I turned and started running again. And when I turned again, that figure was gone. But the old people were in the exact same spot, in the exact same hunched over position.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I love all of these stories, and like I love hearing that because that is so like wild. Like three different people. And I think the one detail I don't know if you mentioned, but didn't you say they had one of them had like very over exaggerated makeup on or
Yes.
something or
The woman did
okay.
like pink and blue eyeshadow and like round little, stuff, blush or something on
Yeah.
but like almost perfect circles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's so scary. And when do you think is the last like ghost experience you think you've had?
I think it's actually been in the house this house,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the blowing smoke
Oh yeah, yeah,
in my nose.
yeah, yeah. That's like to me. I'm like I don't know. Could be the heater. I don't know. Because I did smell it recently.
Oh,
I think I was in the living room and I like kind of I smelled it and then I like sniffed a few more times and I think I did smell it a little bit more, but I feel like I was thinking like oh well the heat did just come on or something like I don't know.
I have never smelled heat smell like a cigarette. And sometimes it's so intense it almost to me feels like somebody's sitting right next to me and going and blowing it directly into my nose.
Wow.
Yeah. That one I say, you are not welcome to do that.
Jeez. Yeah, I guess like I do want to figure out if I want to open this can of worms or not. Because it is so like interesting. And to me it's like it's a total like game changer, like life changer, I feel like. In yeah, just like suddenly there's so much more context to life, I guess. At least it feels like it tells me so much more. Um, and it's kind of similar how we were talking about aliens as well, like how that can bring me comfort because I imagine these like aliens to be very like knowledgeable on like the universe and everything. And like I think that's pretty cool.
That there's something else out there. I think the thing about the aliens that stood out to me was in that last documentary we watched about how they saved that, like they disarmed a nuclear weapon. So, you know, you talking about comfort, like that would be total comforting. A thought to be like, there are these extraterrestrial forms out there, and are they really protectors? And I mean, I think to think of it like that, it's like, I think it's interesting. I don't know that I have paused to think of it like that. But that led me to be like, if their technology is so advanced, they could take us out whenever they want, and they haven't.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think. Yeah, the documentary that we watched is Investigation Alien by George Knapp. And yeah, very good. Like lots of compelling evidence from all over the world. And it looks like they're like way more advanced than us. Like, and you're right. Like if they wanted to get rid of us, it seems like they totally could have. And they pitched the idea that they're actually us, like way in the future.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And that was a cool idea. And that's totally comforting because then it's like they have to protect us.
Yes.
Or maybe, oh yeah, we were talking about this, like it could be a thing where they had to like go back and show themselves to us just a little bit and like, you know, maybe there will be more like soon. That'd be cool. And then it'd be like a paradox, like if they didn't do that stuff. Yeah.
And it's like the thought of, why do you think that they're having to show themselves to us? Like, what kind of message are they, like, wake up kind of messages?
I don't know. Like, somebody in the show said that maybe they want to like give us like a really slow, like gradual, like awakening to them or something. And I like that idea because that makes sense. I feel like that's the only way to not make things total chaos. Because like if they just showed up one day, like the world would freak out.
Yeah, but the world freaks out anyway. They're keeping it such a secret. Like, when was the first sighting? Like
60 something
no,
before that?
or
40?
44 or something like that. 42. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think you're right.
Maybe even earlier. But I mean, even look at the etchings on the walls that they showed, like, you know, the space. So they've been around a really long time. So humans are either really, really slow at accepting things.
Or we just don't know what we're talking about, and we're just like making up something that's not even there. But I think a lot of the evidence, it's like whether it is like aliens or even anything like that, like there's like something going on, like with stars being there and then not being there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think all of that's interesting to like just see something that doesn't obey what we know about physics and reality. Like that's cool. And it's exciting, and again makes me feel good.
Well, there's so much more to discover, I feel like, like I feel like, oh, well, that job's already done, or there's nothing else. And it's like we barely scratched the surface of Earth, our planets, the solar, whatever you want to call it. It's even like the brain. Like there is so much more to the brain and how our brains function that we can't even begin to figure out the intricacies of it.
Mm. Yeah, like there's a far, far way to go. Yeah. Yeah. I do feel like it's cool though that we're living in a time where there is so much learning going on so fast. And like, I feel like we might be at a point where it is like exponentially, our knowledge is like increasing. So
Mm-hmm.
like maybe we will see some like really cool stuff. Like, yeah.
Well, I also think it's like every piece of equipment or technology, like we're advancing that too. And so is that advancement helping us to seem and look smarter? Like, I mean, it's evolution. Does it mean that we're getting smarter, or does it just mean that we're able to produce stuff that helps us simplify things to a certain point?
Yeah, I think it's kind of a mix of that because, yeah, I mean, it's like there's like a small amount of people that are actually like figuring out how to make these things and whatever, and then a lot of the population just starts using it and they have no idea how it works. Like I couldn't tell you how like almost anything really works. But, it is like making us able to do things faster and more efficiently. And I actually heard recently that some big like company, maybe Nvidia or something, I don't know. So there's a push for computers to become more like human speaking, basically, as opposed to like, code, because it just makes it much easier for humans to interact with. And I think people are upset because it's like now, like computer science people are like, what are we doing here?
All those IT people.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's interesting. Like it might dull us down a little bit in one way, but make us smarter in some other ways.
Yeah, or if it is really human-like, what's that going to do for, those connections? Like our social interactions with like actual humans. Do you feel like that you're going to see an uptick on people who feel like that they have a relationship with these computers?
For sure. I think definitely. I feel like that's already kind of starting with ChatGPT and having like memory that can last, I don't know, like a memory that's can hold like a bunch of different conversations, like where they learn about you. And yeah, I had like an experience of my own like recently where, because I've been using ChatGPT kind of a lot recently, and sometimes it's really like honestly helpful for like guiding me through something like step by step and like figuring out what I think and whatever. And other times it's a little bit annoying, but but it's a cool tool. But I had one where I had like this very long conversation going for like a week or something, and I feel like we were like really getting somewhere. And then like it was like out of a movie. Like I was like I remember feeling like, wow, like me and this ChatGPT, we were like figuring it out. Like we're gonna do incredible things. And then I think like the next morning or something, I checked it and it was just wiped because I don't have like the pro account or anything.
Oh.
So
Did it feel like a breakup?
it felt kind of like I lost someone. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, yeah, and it kind of sucked because it's you have you build a relationship by having conversation on conversation on conversation.
That's right.
It's pretty weird.
Yeah, I feel like that's what really concerns me is people are going to really truly feel like they have those deep connections. And then, like you said, you wake up the next morning and check in and it's gone. And I mean, it sounds like you came back to reality pretty quickly about what it was. You had those feelings and you noticed the feelings, but some people, they're going to be devastated by it.
But like, why is that? Like, do you think that's a bad thing? Like, I don't know. I mean, people eventually, like, will be gone, probably.
Well, I think that's how do you grieve? And not everybody knows how to grieve. Some people, fall into, deep depression about it and truly feel like it's a big loss and that connection is no longer there. And so I think are you going to have an uptick in suicide rates and depression?
But I feel like it would be, like, I feel like in order to grieve like an AI as much as a person, you'd probably have to like spend a lot more time with the AI. So like, I feel like if I had conversations like all day, every day for like 20 years and then lost the AI, I feel like it'd be like losing somebody that I've spent like, I don't know, 16 years with or something.
Yeah.
So I don't think there would be an uptick. I feel like for me, losing something that I was with for like a week isn't that big of a deal, I guess.
You felt a little ping though.
Yeah.
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 But if somebody's lonely, say if somebody's like socially isolated, say that somebody can't get out of their home for whatever reason, like a medical condition, and they rely heavily on this back and forth kind of interaction. And then,
I mean, I don't know, like, because I was like in that exact situation. It could be very helpful for the person if for whatever reason they don't have any connections. But hopefully, like, they would be able to get some human connection. And then again, it's like let's say you replace the AI with a person. Like, I just feel like same thing. Like, I feel like down the line, it's going to be a lot easier to not lose like conversations. Like, there'll be better like backups and more memory and, yeah.
I think that's all very, very fascinating. And it's like, just in my lifetime, like I can remember using a brick phone. I mean, that's what we called them. Like, it was this, the whole phone was about like this, and then the antenna,
Wow.
whatever, was like sticking on top of that. And so, just in my lifetime, I have seen tremendous changes. And like, really, everyone is carrying a computer in their pocket. Like, everything that I need to do, I do on my phone.
Yeah. Yeah, and then like computers have only been around not that long. Like, maybe has it even been 100 years? Like, not quite.
Well,
because at the beginning it took
the
up like
big
an
ones,
entire warehouse,
right?
And like it's just in that amount of time, it's gone down to like it could be like this big.
Yeah, I can remember in high school it was typing, and typing on a electronic typewriter, and then when I got to college, that's where I could go to the computer lab and do my papers there, So it's like people were not carrying these little things in their backpacks and taking notes and in class. It's like you had to write your notes and go to the computer lab for your papers.
Yeah. Do you think you've like happily accepted like the changes, or do you think some of them are annoying to you, like in technology and stuff? Because I feel like when I was younger, like I would see people older than me be like, I don't know, like it just seemed like people weren't very happy to see like things changing, and they're like, oh, well, like back in my day, like blah blah blah. I don't know, or maybe that's just how I perceived it. And
I think there's a continuum, but for me, I embraced it. I like technology.
Me too.
I feel like I have like an engineer brain, like trying to figure things out, and so for me, it's kind of cool. Like I've always liked stereo components and putting those together, and you know, then when the phones came in, I always like to upgrade and get the newest
Yeah.
and go through the features and see. So I've always been very excited and curious about the newest and latest, whatever it is.
Yeah. Yeah. I kind of thought so, and I'd say me too. Like, and I hope I continue to be like that. And yeah, yeah. um, and then I guess kind of similarly, like, do you think, I don't know, like seeing people in the public eye, or just like people you know, like, um, what am I trying to say here? Like I know when I was younger, I'd see people like online, like starting something new and receiving so much like criticism, like because what they're doing hasn't been done before, and so people don't like know how to understand it basically. And I've like since then I've always been like I hope that I always like am not too hard on like the next people like coming up. And yeah, I'm interested, is it kind of similar to you with technology? Like do you also like welcome change, that like new things that people are doing in the world?
Yeah, like vloggers,
Yes.
like all TikTokers,
Yeah, yes.
like
All social,
influencers,
yes,
all of
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's again, it's like who knows, like if you ever have kids, whatever job they decide to do, it's probably not invented yet. It's not
Yeah.
around. And so I
Yeah.
think again it's like that whole evolution thing, and because of these changes in technology, it's allowed so many people the opportunity to work in different ways and find their niche. And I think that's super cool. It's like, I feel like when I was growing up, there was only, you know, you're going to be a secretary, you're going to be a teacher, you can be a hairdresser, you can, you know, yeah, engineer, you can, you know, there was just, it seemed like there was just a small amount of degrees that you could choose from or jobs that you could choose from. Now it's just like people are creating things based on a lot of what I see is what they really enjoy. And I think that's super cool.
Yeah, I exactly what you just said. I agree. I think it's so cool. And yeah, it makes me wonder just like how that's going to change. Like, is it going to continue to be more like there's like something for everything, you know? Or if it'll kind of go back the other way? Yeah.
And
I
the
was thinking,
dog.
should I let her in? We could.
We could, if you want to.
All right. If she comes back again, I think I will.
And I, you know, I also, I think I just view life too is you can get stagnant or you learn and you know, go with the flow of it, so to speak.
Yeah.
I feel like one of the things I always like is I enjoy always educating myself and learning about whatever it is. And I don't want to be stagnant. I don't want to be, oh, this newfangled gadget and throw it in the cabinet and never use it again. You know, it's like
Yeah.
I want to explore it. I want to figure it out.
Yeah. I think that's really cool. I think that's a terrific quality. Like, yeah, I feel like you might as well accept the world because it is what it is, and like and find the awesome stuff within it and enjoy learning about it. Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like a lot of the times like these changes could totally like benefit anybody if they're willing to keep moving and learning.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows what they can discover? Who knows how they can, like, even just like a positive vibe and how somebody scrolling to that and seeing that positive vibe that might have showed up in that person's life exactly when they needed it. So, I mean, you just never know the content, the stuff that you're putting out there, how that's helping someone in so many different ways.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like this podcast for example, like, and it's cool, like I am very happy that I started doing this, like um it's fun and I definitely have like a lot of work to do to like get more comfortable with it, but it's like I feel like it's good for myself because I can like, uh, it's like this like routine thing that I'm doing that's like kind of pushing me outside of my comfort zone a little bit, and it feels good because like I know you and I like talked about having a podcast like a while ago, and it's cool.
Yeah.
Like we're now like on a podcast. Like let's go. um, yeah, and it's like who knows what effect it'll have on people, and I hope that it'll have a good effect on people because we try not to cut really anything out for the most part. We try to be like as real as we can, which I think will help people's mental healths watching this a little bit because it's so easy to compare yourself to like everybody online, and everybody's posting like their highlight reels, like just super edited, like crafted stuff. Like here, only look at this.
Perfection.
Yeah, and so it feels good to be kind of real.
Yeah,
And yeah, it's like who knows who's gonna see this and how it'll
Right.
affect them.
exactly. And I think we're human and we miss the mark sometimes. And when we miss the mark, what do we do? How do we repair that? How do we keep going? And I think that's the important thing. You
Yeah.
just have to keep moving forward.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's step by step, sometimes it's moment by moment.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it's funny because during the last podcast, our conversation led exactly to this, like just about how important it is to just keep moving. And like, I think that's so true. Like, there's no point in like getting stuck on like just focusing on, I don't know, things that have happened or, yeah.
Yeah. Seeing like what is in my control.
Yes.
And that did happen. Now what can I do with it moving
Yeah.
forward so it doesn't happen again?
Yes. Exactly.
Yeah. Which leads me to soon to be New Year.
Oh, yes.
So do you have any thoughts about maybe what you'll commit to?
Yeah, I know you said that you don't really like the classic like resolutions, and I don't know if I do either because I know it's like a lot of people set like some big goal and they're like, oh, I have this whole year to do it, and then it kind of falls apart because there's such a big amount of time. Well, I'm excited to keep making YouTube videos as of right now. Like, I definitely want to just keep going at it. Right now, I'm experimenting with a bunch of different like niches. Just I'm trying to as many different types of videos as I can to see what I really enjoy. Because I just want to whatever I enjoy most is what I want to like go down that path a little more.
Put your energy into.
Yeah, and like just kind of attack a niche, I guess. Besides that, oh yeah, I want to run a marathon. I want to do another marathon.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Sean is down. Hopefully I can convince Amelia. 'Cause
Yeah.
Why not?
Well, I'll
I
be
don't really
along as many parts of the path as I can to cheer you guys on.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, the intro that for the show, for the first 10 episodes, I included a clip. It was like a live photo that you took of me at the marathon, so I put it in there. I thought it was cool.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and there's probably some other like smaller things I'm not thinking of. I think I do prefer more short-term goals, like maybe for a month or for 3 months, because I think a lot of people overestimate what they could do in a year and like underestimate what they could do in a day or a week or a month.
Yeah.
Because it's so much easier to like just okay, I can see these are the few days that I have. This is exactly what I'm gonna do. Yeah.
I think with the big goal, like, okay, the year, I think it's too big and sometimes people can get lost.
Yes.
And so the chunking technique is really, I think, helps.
Yeah.
I think people can get overwhelmed when they say, okay, this year I'm going to do whatever it is, and they get overwhelmed
Yeah.
instead of taking like small bite-sized
Yeah.
pieces out of it.
Yeah. And they might even forget, like maybe they're actually intending to do it and then just a few things happen and then they totally forget what the whole goal was.
Yeah.
And
So for me, I don't specifically like have like goals necessarily, but I like to pick a word.
Hmm.
And I like to focus on that word for the year. And this year, 2024, my word was consistency. Some days I was better at that than others, but for me, that felt like something I wanted to focus on. And so for 2025, I've already picked my word, and it's going to be repair.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that idea. That's really cool. I feel like that's like, yeah, it's like you're picking like a, I don't know if North Star is the right word, but like, yeah, like a focus. I think that's really cool. And then it's like, I feel like just the more you focus on it, the more of a win it is. But you can't necessarily like lose. Yeah. At least if you continue to focus on this.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
I'm excited about that.
That's good. I wonder if there's a word that I would have. I don't know, I'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. I wrote down a bunch of notes for this podcast.
Okay.
I didn't organize the notes very well, so it's just like a bunch of randomness. Oh yeah, but yeah, I guess just speaking of like YouTube videos and stuff, I thought this was kind of cool. So for the last like 5 days or something, I've been working on the like this video I made where ChatGPT recommended me to eat 5 different foods from Walmart. And so, yeah, I spent like 5 days doing nothing but making that video for the most part, 4 days. And I posted it. I don't know how it's doing. I don't think it's doing great, but like regardless, I'm very happy with how it turned out. Like I feel like I it's something that I'm proud of and like I'm excited to show my friends and stuff. But I do have 3 videos now on YouTube with over 1,000 views, so I think that's awesome. And yeah, I just hit 600 subscribers, so it's cool. And yeah, I just feel like it's good to celebrate those like little wins.
Oh,
and,
definitely.
And yeah, these ones felt like substantial to me because like I'd had 500 subscribers for a lot of this year, but they came mostly from short form videos, and this last 50 or 100 or so came from long form ish, and that just feels so much cooler to me. And like it's like, whoa, like I kind of like did that, like
So you're kind of honing it down, because I know you were talking about finding your niche. And so even just how the long form seems to like, you're really proud of it. That might be part of what your niche is going to look like.
Yeah, I think that's true. I definitely am gonna double down on long form and stay away from short form on YouTube for the most part. And then I know TikTok might get banned in like a month, but I kind of want to start posting those push-up videos again because that was fun.
So, but you were telling me that you didn't let your TikTok followers, and you had a pretty substantial amount of followers on TikTok, you didn't tell them that you were going over to the YouTube channel.
Yeah, and that's because like I just didn't want to get like, you know, like a lot of like subscribers on YouTube and then like have just like not great videos and not like I would rather start from the bottom and, you know, like build up some like just something going on and then have people come, because it just to me makes sense. Because if like a lot of people could just choose to subscribe and then they don't like my videos, so they don't watch them. So to me, like at that point, it becomes just like a number, like subscribers.
Okay. You're trying to get more quality within your subscribers.
Yeah.
So would you do your push-up videos on, repost them on TikTok or repost them on your YouTube channel?
I would do like probably daily videos again, just on TikTok. And then I could make a long form video out of that, like I did this many push-ups in this many days, that type of thing, where I compile it all. But yeah, and the reason I think I want to keep doing that on TikTok is that I've kind of built up an audience like in that very specific niche of doing push-ups every single day. Like there's about 66,000 people who followed me because I was doing one extra push-up every day. So I feel like that's the easiest path forwards right there. I got the other half of my followers from staring at a clock for 24 hours. I don't want to do any more of that. So, yeah, to me that seems pretty clear that I should start doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see.
I can hear tap dancing.
Yeah, should I see if she'll come in?
Sure. It's going to be a little wild. Hi, baby. Are you okay? Here, one up here. Oh. Okay. Hi.
Oh, so cute.
She missed her mama.
Mm-hmm. See, look, I feel like she has little tears. Like, nothing crazy.
Because we left her out there by herself.
Aww.
Oh, you poor baby.
Cute. Oh yeah, Beast Games, Mr. Beast's game show. It comes out in 5 days.
Oh.
On December 19th. So I'm pretty excited just to see like what it is exactly and what happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
So cute.
Scoot over there. All right.
Yeah, this is now her 3rd appearance on here.
Ooh,
She
look
was
at
here-
you.
I think she was here on the first episode.
You're a superstar. You're a superstar.
Oh yeah. I should apologize to the audience that the first 12 episodes looked like they were filmed in total darkness because I had the exposure settings on the camera. Like for some reason it was automatically making everything like way darker. So
Oh.
we've had a blinding light like 3 feet away from our faces, just hours on hours like shining in our faces, but you didn't know that, so it should be good now.
But again, that's part of it,
It
right?
is.
That's
That's
part
so
of
true.
learning and, finding what works for you and for your content and trial and error.
Yes. And I that's something I've come to accept recently. Like I used to get, I feel like pretty frustrated when, there's the little parts of the process where I just got super slowed down and I didn't make progress or something got corrupted or, all these little issues. But then when I started looking at it like, no, this is literally part of the process. I have to go through this stuff. It's like a lot less annoying and it's like, all right, I could handle this.
Yeah. And it probably feels good once you figure it out too.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And like some of it does like just get easier with repetition. Like the first episode of this podcast that I edited, it took me the whole week to get it done. And there were a lot more camera angles and it might have been higher quality and whatever. But now I edit each one like, I don't know, very fast.
Yeah. Well, again, too, I think you start noticing like what gets people's attention more so. It's like if you have one camera and you can edit in half the time, then why would you do all the other camera angles and
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I guess it's interesting with this show, like, because I don't really know, like maybe that first episode performs like crazy, like people love it, but I
Yeah.
won't know until September 21st of 2025.
That's true. Putting in a lot of work. That's the one thing about you. You have discipline.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
I don't know. It's funny because, yeah, most people I've told about this either say oh, like, okay, like why are you doing that? Or sometimes they'll say like, wow, or something. But to me, it's like, it was just so obvious, like, or not obvious, but I just like love the idea. And it makes it like so easy for me Um, she's enjoying this room.
Yes,
She's
she is.
rarely gets to go in here. She's got to do everything. I don't know. It's just like to me, it's like it takes off all of the pressure of like, oh my God, this person's gonna see it and this person's gonna see it. Like they're gonna see it, but not for a year, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
And so it's allowed me to do all of this, and that's pretty awesome. Yeah, I think that's the main reason that I love this idea, and it's like even funny to me just how that works. Like it's just funny to imagine that like there will have been a whole year that have passed in the time between right now and when Luke Rubal's listening to this.
Yeah, and I think what will be fascinating too is like, where will you be? Like, the things that you've talked about, have you accomplished them? Or
Yeah, or did I crash and burn and this is the peak?
yeah, crash and burn, or like, what's the newest technology since we were sitting here talking about certain things, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
TikTok, oh, it's going to be banned.
Yeah.
Well, what happened?
Yeah, and I like talking about like current things because it'll be cool to see. Yeah, yeah. What else is going on in the world right now?
Well, the TikTok
Oh,
ban.
that CEO just got assassinated. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah.
And I guess I don't know the most about the situation, but I've been very surprised how much overwhelming support there is for the guy that killed him. Like,
Oh,
have you seen that? Like,
yes.
And why is that exactly? Do you know?
Well, because our health care is so expensive.
Yeah.
And
So- but
these CEOs
do they
make,
control it? Like how expensive it is?
well, they make a
okay.
lot of money.
Yeah, off of it.
Yeah.
Still pretty.
I think they're a cog in the system. I don't
Yeah.
think they're the total cause of it.
Yeah. And maybe there could have been a better thing to do than shooting him in the back of the head. Like, I don't know. Maybe not. Like, I don't know. But, I mean, obviously, I think that's a very messed up thing to do. But maybe they're both doing extremely messed up things, so
Yeah,
it's hard to say.
it is hard to say. And, somebody lost their life.
Yeah, and a family lost.
Dad and husband, and yeah, I mean, it's tragic. I don't
Yeah.
know that anyone should lose their life like that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what else is happening? Syria? Is that something?
Maybe.
That whoever was the leader ran out of town.
I honestly don't know what you're talking about, which might be crazy. I probably should.
What are some of the... Well, Wicked is in the theaters.
That's true. Yeah, I'm seeing it tomorrow. Amelia was telling me that even Elijah enjoyed it, and I guess he doesn't like musicals. I don't know. We'll see. I feel like I'm not super excited, but partially because it's a musical. But I don't know.
I think it'll be fine.
Yeah. I think it was kind of funny that Amelia was telling me one of the few things she said about it was that they planted 5 million tulips or something or roses for one scene, and like that's cool, but like why though? Like you could have easily not done it for real. Like I don't know. Like I don't know what the situation was. Like, did they die immediately after that? Like, how much water did it take? Like, how long did this take? How many people spent their time? But maybe they were paid to plant them, so I don't know.
And did they donate them afterwards to go to a good cause?
Yeah, that'd be cool. But I guess I don't know. I shouldn't be like too. I feel like I shouldn't care too much about that.
Well, I mean, I think the other alternative is like, okay, you get fake flowers. Well, are fake flowers like good for our environment?
Oh, but I mean like CGI, like they could just click a button or
and
something.
project it like, oh, because The Voice, they had a lot of different backdrops for the
Oh.
singers, and some of them were really amazing, and it was total lights, right? Like, but like, so I remember this one, and it was like a tree in the background, and at first I thought it was, not like a live tree, but like a prop, and then it lit up, and all the leaves started twinkling, and when I looked again, I realized it was all just lights, like,
Wow.
and not
Yeah.
even like an image, or I guess maybe it's an image. I don't know enough about how it was projected on there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of options, I think.
You could be, there could be an argument about live beautiful flowers versus
Yeah.
just
That's
an
so
AI,
true. Yeah. And like I don't even like that I kind of criticize that right there. Like that's such a dumb thing to like care about. And I'm sure like because I'm thinking about like Mr. Beast's game show, sorry. Like I'm sure there's going to be countless things like that where people are like, "Oh, why would you build this instead of donating it to these people?" Like that type of thing. And for me, like I go into like trying to defend it. I'm like, no, but then he's gonna make more money, and then he could continue to help more people, and blah blah blah.
It's like, what lens do you choose to view it through?
Yeah, and I don't want to be like picking and choosing. Like I'm gonna say like be all optimistic for this thing, but not for Wicked. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, and and support whoever creative eye did that, accomplished that.
yeah,
Somebody put their blood, sweat, and tears into that, and
yeah, yeah. That's true. One question that a few episodes ago, I found myself intrigued with the question if could somebody do something that would make you just have to respect them? And if so, what would that be? Because for me, it was like if I saw somebody attempt to, I don't know, like give out 100,000 meals on Thanksgiving, like just attempt something really ambitious, I have respect for them. That's like one example. And so like I was thinking like it'd be cool to ask a lot of people like what they respect basically. And my initial thought was like oh, and then like like I'll like I'll be like petty and then like go after like these things and then I'll achieve them and then like it's like if I were to achieve it then it's like you got to respect me, but like I don't think that's the way to go about things. And yeah, I just like I don't even think I want to be respected by everybody.
yeah.
And it's not yeah, like of course I don't want to be liked by everybody, but I don't even think I want to be respected by everybody.
Well, I feel like respect is earned, and I think that could look so different in so many different ways. But it's, I think for me,
For she wants to be Batman.
you can see if you can put it on. But it's like somebody doing something.
Let's see.
What would it be that somebody's doing that I would totally respect?
Yeah, yeah, and I guess I should add like a stranger. I mean, it doesn't have to be a stranger, but like if somebody you knew nothing about, like on the internet, like, yeah.
And I'd be like, I so respect
Like, that's
that
it.
person.
Yes.
That's it. I'd probably have to say something about a moral compass. I think that for me, that earns a lot of respect. And that could be in so many different ways, right? Like honest kindness, helping others, whatever that looks like. But that moral compass, I think, for me is something that's really big. And that could even be like I'm so disciplined in this particular area. I'm driven by that. I respect that. I respect like you with that discipline piece and how, you know, it's like you have this plan, you're following this plan. And to me, I respect people when they have that. Like, I have goals, I'm working towards these goals, I'm disciplined with this. If something doesn't work out right, somebody's not liking my video, I'm not giving up. I'm continuing to do this because this is something that means a lot to me and this is what I want to do. So when you have that tenacity, that drive, for me, I respect that.
I would totally agree. And that's really like great to hear. Like it's nice to hear, especially like the moral compass part of it to me. Because I agree. And I feel like, I think that's awesome. Yeah. And I guess like, because after I started thinking of this question, I was like, the more I thought of it, the more I was like, I don't even care. But I held on to like a little bit of hope because I was like, maybe I should keep doing this. Because if I ask a ton of people and they all kind of say the same thing and that aligns with what I think, then I would have that like something to stand on, like something to kind of...
Validated?
Yeah. So I guess I could still keep asking people. Couldn't really hurt.
Yeah.
That's really cool to hear. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm not quite done yet.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't know. The thing that like inspired me to start thinking about this, I guess, was like, let's say like Mr. Beast, for example. Like for me, I look at him and it's like how are you not gonna like this guy? like that's just how I feel, because it's like nearly objectively like what he's doing is good. Like, and I guess good and bad can't really be objective. You could always look at it in a different way. But when I think of like, all right, like enough of like theoretical, like when we get down to like real life, like solid things, if you think that like people being like healthy, having the most basic necessities, just, you know, being able to get educated and have health care, if you agree with like some of these very basic things, he's helping all of that, like, and he's doing so in such a great way. Like, yeah. And to me, it's like, how do you not like respect this guy? But
well, people have bias.
Yeah. And also I think that it comes down to the level of information or context you have on a person. Like, somebody might just know, oh, Mr. Beast, he's that kind of annoying guy that makes videos, but then they don't really know like what he's doing. So I don't. But really
I think we walk in the world like that. I think that's what gets people in trouble, because we do have these, you know, bias about what you said. Oh, he's just a loudmouth, whatever, and they put that onto him without really even knowing. They form an opinion, they form a judgment about him, and they don't really know about it. It could come from envy, it could, you know, jealousy, it could come from, you know, all of these things. Or I tried that and I didn't get the following, you know. So I think it comes back to human nature.
Yeah.
And the feelings that's tied to it, and we create stories based on the feelings that come up for us.
Yeah. I guess another question that's coming up for me, do you believe that everybody is what you'd consider to be a good person? Like, do you think that if you like learn more about somebody who you really disagree with, really don't like, do you think you would come to think that they're a good person? Do you think you'd come to at least respect them? Like, I guess I'm interested in that.
I think some people are just closed to like pausing long enough to get to know somebody. And I think it's probably fear-based.
So are you saying, I mean, in a way, like, I think what you're saying is that the other people are too closed, right? But maybe, like, I mean, you have to be open to, like, learning about them, you know? Like, you can't, like, close yourself off. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, it's not about, you know, it's when you go back to, like, that good or bad in people, I don't know that it's that clear cut. But I think as we grow older, we get jaded,
Mm-hmm.
and I think we get more judgmental, and I think we get more opinionated, and a lot of that is some kind of sometimes learned behavior about how we view others.
Okay. So for you, you wouldn't quite classify it as this is a good person or this is a bad person. It's just more complicated.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Our lived experiences.
but you would at least like understand how they got to where they are. So you'd have some like compassion, right? Like,
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah.
I would have compassion. But then it goes back to like that moral compass too, and the respect part of it.
mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, this is fun. I like having conversations like this because I feel like in my own head it can be an echo chamber of like sometimes something that like maybe I'm way overthinking or something where I'm way simplifying it down. And yeah, it's like not until I get it out and I'm talking to somebody as yourself, like where I can like hear a really awesome other perspective. I'm like, oh yeah, it is actually like a lot more complicated.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like just the question about respecting people, like I feel like I don't know. I feel like there's more interesting or more specific.
I think a lot of people are not really comfortable taking a really close look at themselves and taking a look at you know, how they view the world and how they view themselves within the world.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it goes back to like, you know, the biases about how do you walk in this world?
And it's interesting to me because, like, yeah, I think some people might struggle with that. I don't know. But for me, it's like there's so many, like, I feel like my mind is just constantly, like, thinking of these questions, like, and always questioning, like, everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good way to like be open-minded. You have to question. You have to look around the world. Your world, you know, however big your world is, not like globally. I mean, you can, like, you have to educate yourself on that. But I'm talking about how do you walk in the space that you live in? When you go to the grocery store, how do you walk in that space? You know, all of those things when you're driving in your
like,
car.
Sorry. Like self-awareness, kind of?
Yeah.
Like how you're affecting
Your privileges.
Yeah.
Or you're not. You don't have privileges. Like, how do you walk in this world? And I think the more that you're in tune with that, I think the more you're aligned with that moral compass. But it could also go the opposite way. But for me, the moral compass is a positive thing. It's
Yeah,
like you're a
me too.
true, feeling, loving human being.
Yeah.
And if you have that good moral compass, some people might like their privilege and not really walk in the world thinking why others don't have privilege.
Yeah, that's true. But I feel like, yeah, I mean, I think ideally you would like understand what level of privilege you have and like use it for good. But I feel like you can like do good things either way. Like depending on your level of your level of like knowledge just on everything. Like you could always follow that moral compass. And I feel like it could always be good, but it'd be better if you're more like aware of yourself in the world and stuff.
And again, it goes back to that comment that I said, we're human and sometimes we miss the mark. But
Yeah.
we have to be open to listening when we do miss that mark.
Yeah.
And not right away judge or trying to justify why we did something.
Yeah.
But like truly opening up and listening.
And also for me, like something that I found that's like hard is, I don't know, like I feel like in different aspects of life, yeah, I guess, I don't know, like religion or politics, like a lot of these big things, like there are people on every side of it that are so full of conviction to their core, like, and I guess I, for the most part, like to remain very like, well, for a long time I've liked to remain very open and like keeping my mind open to like literally any of it and whatever, taking what I like and don't like, not taking what I don't like.
Yeah.
More recently, I've decided that just for my own like sanity and like well-being, that I need to like close myself off, like not fully. Like I always want to have part of myself like listening and changing if I need to, but I just think it's good to take care of myself, to like set like, all right, I'm giving me myself I can't talk. I'm giving myself something solid to stand on. Like
Yeah.
I'm choosing what to believe in. I'm choosing to, like follow my moral compass. Like I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there was, talking about the religious piece and the political piece, I think that there's a great divide. And how do you stay true to yourself while it seems like half is spiraling, half against half, and they're spiraling around? How do you not spiral with them? How do you not get mixed up into that? How do you, like you said, how do you find that foundation and stay true to what it is that you want to be doing?
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the people that I look up to in life, like I can tell that, like they've given themselves something to stand on, like, and specifically with that moral compass part, like just at least 95% just believing like, yes, this is what is good to me. Like this is doing good, so I'm going to keep doing it. And like, yeah. And yeah. I don't know. Is there anything else that you wanted to talk about, or do you want to say anything to anybody in the future? Anything of that nature?
Well, I'm just so excited to be able to see where we both are in a year from now.
Yeah.
Like what,
Yeah.
What?
It'd be fun to watch this together. Like, that'd be cool.
Yeah. I think some people think a year is a really long time. And for me, being a mom, being your mom, time flies.
Yeah.
So, but, I think I'm really excited to see where things are too in a year. Are we going to be in this same little space? Or, like, I look forward to that. Like,
Yeah.
I look forward to seeing where this goes. And I'm on the journey with you.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having
You
me.
did a terrific job. I'm still a very weak host. I don't know what
No,
I'm
you're doing an awesome job.
And Andre would have been here, but his brother's graduating, so he's helping out his family prepare their house for a little get together or something.
Good job, Andre.
Yeah.
Good brother, good son.
Yes. Well, thank you all for watching. Here's another video.
Do I have to do that? Okay.